defective clones with desirable mutations. They call themselves the Bad Batch.
What is up, all you lovely people? Welcome to another episode of the Empire Radio Podcast. I'm Andrew.
I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And what started as a passing comment, maybe a suggestion, maybe a dream, who knows, in the last episode that we covered, in which we covered the Bad Batch and the announcement of the TV show, what once started there has now become a reality. And our lovely podcast member Jeremiah has taken the dream of writing his own version of the Bad Batch series, and he did it, y'all.
I did it.
He did it. So this was completely unprompted from us. He just randomly one day said, "Hey guys, I'm actually doing it," and then the next message was like, "Hey, I've got 3 episodes done." And then he kept giving us updates, and before we knew it, how many episodes did you write?
I wrote 7 episodes, which is the first season. So this is like, I'll get in more detail later, but about how I wrote it up. But yeah.
So if you're wondering why we're talking about this and not the news, it's because one, nothing really substantial that we have confirmed at least happened this past week. At least at the time of recording this episode. And 2, we want to give Jeremiah the time he deserves because apparently he put a lot of effort into this. And so this episode, next week's episode, and then the following episode, we are actually going to be doing a trilogy of sorts where we are going to be covering Jeremiah's Bad Batch season that he wrote himself. And the fun thing, kind of similar to the Star Wars Infinity series that we did a month, I don't know how long it's been, but it's like a month and a half ago. Drew and I have not heard this at all. Right. He has not shared any details except he got the episodes done, and so he's going to tell us a story. We're going to talk about it. We're going to react to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So for the sake of making sure we give this the time it deserves, Jeremiah, go for it.
All right. So just some background stuff for our listeners. This is the first time I've ever written a story in my life. I write stuff for my blog, and I like writing and stuff, blah blah blah. But that's not story driven, and so this is so out of my normal league. But it was fun doing it for the first time. And
would you say you would write more stories?
Would I write more stories?
Yeah.
Well, considering this is only season 1, I have 3 seasons of ideas.
Okay.
So
well, dang.
So I haven't started season 2 yet, even though I have ideas, and then I kind of have vague idea of what season 3 would be. So
wow.
So, but I think I'll finish it after 3 seasons will be complete. And so I said when I was writing this to Drew and Andrew that if I win a $500 million Powerball, I'm gonna take all that money and make a live action version of this and just put it on YouTube for free for people to watch. So I would hire Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau and Pablo Hidalgo and have them tweak it a little bit to make it good. But
can you imagine walking into Disney, or Lucasfilm, walking in the front office and walking up to the receptionist and being like, "Hey,
I need you.
I want to hire 3 of the top people in all of Lucasfilm right now, and I have about, what did you say, $50 million?
$500 million.
Dear
500.
Lord.
Okay. I was like,
yeah.
$5 million. No.
If you're gonna talk to the receptionist, you might want to include that part.
I'll probably have a briefcase full of $100 bills.
I don't know if I do that.
Okay.
because
You
that
could
makes
always
you the
just pay
target.
the receptionist like $1,000 to go talk to him. You know.
You could.
Let me just get 5
Anyways.
minutes with Dave Filoni. I can
Yeah.
convince him. Okay. All right. Let's jump in. Okay.
Right.
So episode 1, I have called For the Republic, and so this picks up pretty much right after or soon after the Clone Wars arc that we were introduced to, the Bad Batch. So this could be a few days or a few weeks after that episode arc, but it is before Order 66, and so at this point, so Echo, he's the new member of the Bad Batch because it's Tech,
Yep.
Hunter, Crosshair, and Wrecker, and now Echo. So they're a team, and as we know, they go on special missions, hard missions that normal clones aren't equipped to do, and so they're given a new mission, and this new mission is to go and assassinate a separatist leader. So this is an actual humanoid alien or a person or whatever. I don't know. I don't got all the specific details. It's kind of like I just have plot points for all these. So
we do know that it can't be one of the separatist leaders that was on
right.
Utapau.
Utapau or that Anakin killed or anything like that. So
Right.
it's definitely
Okay.
it's definitely someone that's a leader on a planet that they're just a high ranking one that has a meaningful influence on the separatist side of the war. So the Republic has tracked this leader down. They send the Bad Batch to go assassinate. Blah blah blah. And so in the Clone Wars arc, there was kind of a vague hint of like who do the Bad Batch like really like submit, like who's their commanding person above them, like sends them on these missions. And so for the sake of like continuity stuff, like I don't know if based on the other stuff that we've had, this character would contradict continuity. If not, we can just change into a random person. But I'm gonna say this was that they're commanded by Tarkin. That Tarkin is the Bad Batch's commanding leader, and he's kind of we'll get into that. But go ahead.
He was an admiral, right? During the Clone Wars?
Something we saw him in the Citadel episode, and that's where Echo was killed.
Yeah.
So Echo has some experience with Tarkin, I believe.
Sure.
And so but he has he's been grooming his own relationship with the Emperor or with Palpatine at this point.
Right.
We know that Palpatine kind of has has his eye on Tarkin a little bit, and so I was like, hey, let's just have Tarkin. Now, I don't know based on the Tarkin novels or comics or whatever if he has any continuity things that would mess up this continuity, but whatever. So anyway, Tarkin, he sends them on this mission, blah, blah, blah. And so Bad Batch, they go out, they're doing their mission, blah, blah, blah. And during the mission, when Echo, he's kind of like a droid where he can read messages and he can work through computers and communicate through computers with just by plugging in his stub of an arm.
Yeah.
And so while he's doing this during the mission, he intercepts transmissions from the Separatists, and he relays back to the rest of the Bad Batch is that clones on many fronts across the galaxy are retreating, and there are reports of dead Jedi found. And that reports of clones turning against the Jedi have been being passed back and forth between the Separatists. And so he's super confused, and the Bad Batch is super confused because like they don't understand what's going on because they just intercepted these random transmissions by Separatist leaders and entities, and they don't really know what's going on. It's just kind of like chaos in the radio waves. And
Right.
so anyway, they go out and they continue the mission. They assassinate the Separatist leader, blah, blah, blah. Just boom, they do it. And they return back to base. And they get back to their base, and Tarkin is there. And he said that the the war is over. And the Bad Batch was like, what? How? Like, what do you mean the war is over? And a hologram of the Emperor pops up, and he gives them Order 66. And all 5 members of Bad Batch submit to that order. They are now under control of the ship, and that would be the end of episode 1. And so it's quick, very short episode based on the details I give, but that's just the first episode. So they did not experience the actual initial Order 66
Yeah.
across the galaxy because they were on a mission apart from a Jedi general, and so they had no need to be given that order. But when they got back to base, Palpatine specifically gave them that order, and they all
Sure.
submitted to that.
Huh.
So, what are your ideas so far? Thoughts?
So Palpatine
Theories?
knows they're there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he's aware of the Bad Batch.
Yes.
Because I know that was one of the big speculation points when we were going through Clone Wars. We were like, does he actually know about him? Yada yada.
Yeah,
yada.
that's what we were thinking, right? Is like we didn't know if Palpatine even knew of them because, like, for our understanding, there could be they're like mistakes, right? So like, who put this group together,
Right.
you know? And so it's interesting that Palpatine knows.
Palpatine knows.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
And-
so that's a really interesting direction. Questions I have that I'm sure will be answered at some point. Is Rex involved in getting their chips out? I guess the second question would be, the first question would be, do they even get their chips out? The second question would be, if so, is Rex involved? And then
Is Ahsoka involved as well?
that's true because, at this point, if we're thinking timeline-wise, Order 66 has already happened. And at this point, Ahsoka and Rex are kind of doing their own thing now. Or so we think.
Yes. And
So,
at this point,
it could be
we
both.
know that
it could be.
the producer and writer of this is a huge Ahsoka fan. So we have to assume that she's involved somehow. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, her and Rex probably traveled together for a little while.
True that.
So who knows? I mean, we'll find out, I'm sure.
All right. So that's episode 1 for the Republic. So
What a
episode,
cliffhanger.
yeah.
By the way, I would be so mad at you if I had to wait a week to find out what happened after that. I'm just going to put that on record.
Okay.
Wait, episode 2 is called what?
I haven't gotten there yet. And so,
what?
episode 1 is for the Republic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Episode 2 is called For the Empire.
Oh, boy.
And
Sexy,
so-
sexy.
So immediately after this, we see that the Bad Batch are a mercenary team that are specially trained to track down Jedi. And so, yes, all clones are supposed to track down Jedi, but the Bad Batch, they're a specialized group, and their specialized training is to fight high-ranking, highly trained Jedi, not just everyday Jedi. And so, they, at the beginning of this episode, they're going through specific training to learn how to fight a Jedi. And so this would be part, if you played Jedi Fallen Order, there were troopers called Purge Troopers. And so
Yeah.
they were specifically trained to fight Jedi or Force sensitive people. And so they are actually part of this early Purge Trooper program, but they're going to be kind of like the best of the best. They're the elite Purge Troopers in a sense.
So they went back into training.
Oh.
They went back into training because they were never trained to fight Jedi, and so you got to get special
okay.
training to know how to combat. Kind of like the Mandalorians, like they had equipment that they used to fight Jedi to kind of counteract, and so they're kind of in this learning how to counteract the Jedi and how to find weaknesses, blah blah blah. And so this takes place. This training, they're on and off. They're going on missions, but they're also simultaneously having special training. And so this is, the first few months after Order 66 that this training is going. But they will lead large groups of clones to go hunt the Jedi. So they're leading clones to fight Jedi.
Oh, sure.
And so then after all this training stuff, and I kind of like transitioned into we would see like a montage of the first 6 months of after Order 66 of the Bad Batch hunting down Jedi, just kind of like a montage of them finding them, killing them, fighting them, blah, blah, blah. And just them showing how elite they are as Jedi killers.
Sure.
And so
This is dark. Frick.
yeah. And so then
yeah. So happy. Yeah.
and then we'll transition into where rather than a montage is concerned, the show is going to focus then on a single mission where they're tracking Jedi. And so this large mission takes place on a former Techno Union controlled planet. And so the Techno Union is no longer in control of this planet because after the war they were dispersed and they kind of went into hiding or chaos or whatever. But this was a former planet that the Techno Union was kind of in control of during the war. And so the intel on this planet is that there are 5 Jedi on this planet that are in hiding. That they're
Wait a second. Do we know what planet it is?
It's just I just made up a random planet.
Oh, okay. Never
Oh,
mind.
come
then.
on.
It's just I don't know. It's nothing that we've known. It's just a planet controlled by formerly controlled by the Techno Union.
I thought it was the one from the Bad Batch arc.
That may or may not be present in future seasons.
Oh, so it couldn't
okay.
be.
Okay.
Can we name this said planet?
No, not yet. You
is-
gotta no spoilers. I already said too much.
Okay.
Wait a second. Do you know what planet the 5 Jedi are rumored to be on right now?
No, I don't. This is a random
Oh,
planet.
that's
why I
what
said,
Drew
can
wants
we
to name.
it?
No, I don't have. I don't know. We'll call it Cuptopia. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Lame name.
These are the minor details that Dave Filoni would come up with. Like,
okay.
I don't have enough. I don't have time for these little details. But so because there's 5 Jedi on this planet, in this region of the planet, this is going to be like an invasion attack on this planet where, probably thousands, probably hundreds, probably 500 clones are going to be sent to this planet, and they're going to be broken down to like track down these Jedi because it's a large group of Jedi, like 5 Jedi over a large area, and so they need as many clones as they can to kind of fight these Jedi.
Dang,
and
they're
so
dropping the boot.
Yeah, and so now a little kind of like a noticeable theme in this specific episode that I want to make note of is that during this whole episode, so this is even during the early months of like training in the Purge Trooper program and throughout this specific mission, Echo is having a lot of discomfort and confusion throughout the whole process during training. While he's going on, he's confused. He has discomfort, and as time goes on during these, because remember this is where this mission is now at 6 months after Order 66, and so during this, his discomfort and confusion grows increasingly worse. So keep that in mind specifically for future episodes. And so while on this planet, Echo, he hacks into a computer system or whatever, and he finds a hidden frequency, a radio frequency, and it's encrypted, and he finds it kind of odd.
Classic, always encrypted.
It's encrypted, and so he's like, this is weird. Like, why is there this random encrypted message on this?
Shoot! Hold on.
Techno Union, formerly Techno Union controlled planet. So he's like, okay, weird. So he's able to like download it onto like a little like in A New Hope, with a little like floppy disk type thing.
The data card.
Yeah, we'll go with that. That's the first half of The New Hope, so I don't know all the details. But
that's right. Yeah.
So so during this mission, so he downloads the encrypted message, blah blah blah. But after this, he's starting to get a really, really bad headache. His head's really hurting. His confusion and discomfort is at the worst it's ever been. And while on the mission, he actually finds the Jedi, the main Jedi that they're there to kill, and doesn't. They're kind of like staring at each other. Like Echo had a chance to kill the Jedi and doesn't. And they're just kind of looking at each other. And then for a few seconds later, Bad Batch and some other droids, clones, come in, and they see the Jedi, and they fight the Jedi and kill the Jedi.
Okay.
And so they return back to base. So they were sent to kill the main Jedi. And so there's 4 more Jedi on the planet that are also being simultaneously hunted down. And
Was it Mace Windu?
No, I haven't come up with any specific.
Oh, okay.
But so they return to base, and while in his private quarters, Echo, he takes out the encrypted encrypted message that he recorded from the weird frequency, and he unlocks it, and he listens to it. Now, during this episode, we as the watchers of the episode, we don't know what he is hearing. We just know he's reacting to it, and his reaction to the message that he's seeing is a look of shock and horror. And that's the end of the episode.
Ah, I know what it is.
What are your
I think I
theories?
know.
It's Maul.
No, it's not Maul. It's the message, the Obi-Wan message. It's got to be.
Drew, any other
'Cause-
theories?
I
Because
said
the
Maul.
Jedi were there. You say Maul?
Why not?
Yeah, that would be a really good plot twist, though.
I mean, it is Jeremiah's favorite scene in another movie, so it could potentially make sense.
That is true. Huh. This
Any
is
other
getting
thoughts?
interesting.
What are
I
your
like-
thoughts on the discomfort and confusion by Echo?
I think it could be one of a few things. One, Echo could be a clone of Darth Plagueis. Just kidding.
I'm like, I don't know anything about EU stuff, so probably not.
That's like the number one thing every time there's a new character. The clone of Darth or it's Darth Plagueis. Anyways, even though I'd love to see him in canon, I think option one could be that his chip was damaged when the Techno Union spliced into him, and so he's like operating at like half chip level, whatever you want, half strength. The other thing is, I think maybe his cybernetic enhancements or whatever are fighting the chip. I don't know. But I know the discomfort has something to do with his chip either malfunctioning or it loses its power over him. And I think the discomfort is because obviously it's a biochip, so it's like directly implanted in his brain, and that could prove problematic if it malfunctions. Case in point, I mean, we've seen it before. The danger of it malfunctioning. So yeah, I mean that's kind of, those are my thoughts.
Drew, any ideas, thoughts? Maul again?
Yeah. Why not?
Okay. All right. So
One
I'll
can
continue.
dream.
Oh,
But wait,
there's more.
I have another
Oh.
theory.
Yeah.
I think the message may or may not be an encrypted message from the sponsor of today's episode.
Oh.
True.
I might have to make some quick changes to this next episode.
Yeah. Well, I can save you the trouble because I've already intercepted it. I've decrypted it, and I've actually got it here for us to listen to. You guys
All right.
ready?
All right, I want to
Yep.
hear it.
All right, here we go. Hey everyone, Andrew here. I'm pleased to tell you that the sponsor for today's episode is Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea. If you don't know anything about Wesley Andrews, you definitely should. They're an award-winning coffee roaster and shop in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they make fantastic coffee. The awesome thing is that they have a subscription service that gets those amazing coffee beans delivered to your door on an either weekly, bi-weekly, or a monthly basis. Unfortunately, we're all being negatively affected by this virus right now. But that being said, what a better time to try some new coffee and support a local business. I know they'll greatly appreciate it, and we will too. After all, using the code Empire Radio with a capital E and a capital R with no space at checkout, when you start a new subscription at wesleyandrews.cc, you'll get 50% off your first purchase. I can't think of a better deal. Get 50% off, support a local Minneapolis coffee shop, and support your favorite Star Wars podcast. In the words of Emperor Palpatine, do it. There you go, boys. That's the message.
Do it.
That Wesley Andrews is part of Star Wars canon. So,
Dude, that'd be interesting.
I'd believe
and
it.
if Wesley Andrews is canon, then that means this podcast is canon too in Star Wars.
True.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Well,
take that, Rebel Force Radio.
oh wow, name
Oh
drop.
boy.
This got really intense all of a sudden.
We didn't mean any disrespect, obviously.
All right.
They can take whatever they want.
All right.
All right.
Should we get back into it?
Yeah. I want to see what happens.
So episode 3 is called Contact.
Oh boy. That's the worst thing you can hear during the pandemic.
True that. I
too.
got tested today, so I understand.
Wait,
no.
what?
Well,
That's a different story.
we'll talk about this off air.
Yeah.
Anyway, Contact.
Okay.
Contact.
Contact.
So like I said, previous episode, they're on this planet hunting 5 Jedi. The Bad Batch, they killed the primary Jedi, which was like the highest ranking of the 5. And so they return back to base, like we said in the previous episode. They're done fighting that specific Jedi. Reports have come in that 3 of the remaining 4 have been killed. Of the Jedi have been killed. So now there's 1 remaining in a hidden dense forest jungle that they've kind of tracked it down to. So, these areas, these hideout spots that the Jedi that were killed, clones are now investigating these areas to try and find, any information, if there's any contact with other Jedi, blah, blah, blah. And leadership at this point saying, okay, this is probably going to take like a multi-day like stay on this planet to collect all the intel and do all the research, and then they're out to do the next thing. So during this time of investigation, this is probably the next day after they kill their Jedi and return back. Bad Batch's clone group was reported to be very sluggish and sloppy on this mission, and so Tarkin comes into the area and gets in a heated argument with Echo because reports were that Echo, he didn't attack a Jedi when he had a chance to kill, and then he starts arguing with Hunter, part of Bad Batch, and so there's a big argument, blah blah blah. And so Hunter, he's kind of like the main leader of the Bad Batch. We kind of learned that in the Clone Wars, that he's kind of like the head guy, and so he starts to argue with Tarkin about this, and Hunter explains that their clone group have been overworked and have needed rest for a while, and that they're just being overworked because of all these missions that they're going on nonstop and hunting Jedi. And Tarkin, he doesn't like to hear this, because Tarkin, he doesn't care about excuses. He just wants results. He just wants people to work hard and just nonstop. But Tarkin, he kind of all right, fine. We're here for a few more days. We're just looking for one more Jedi. Fine. You and your clones can take a little break for the next couple of days, and just take the remainder of the mission off. We have enough clones to go out and find this last Jedi.
Wow.
And so,
how nice of him.
Yes, but he's not happy about it. He's just kind of angry about it. Fine, we'll see how, if you need rest, and if this let's see if in the future, if even after rest, if you're being sluggish,
Right.
then it's going to be kind of like a test. But so Echo, after this, he goes back to his living quarter, and he's heated and angry about this because he was kind of like the main clone that failed in that mission, and so he's like super like emotional about it, like, and pissed about it. But he's by himself, and we have a little flashback of him listening to the encrypted message, where we actually now will hear this message.
Uh-huh.
Now I haven't written like the actual dialogue, just kind of like the gist of what was said.
Uh-huh.
And Captain Rex left a message specifically for Echo.
Frick. Was not seeing that coming.
And Captain Rex is like, the only person that could ever find this frequency is Echo, because he was in the Techno Union network and knows how that messaging system works. And so he left a looping message on that frequency on the Techno Union planet, knowing that the only person in the whole entire galaxy that could figure that out is either a Techno Union member or Echo himself. And so he leaves this message, and he says in this message, he explains that the war in Order 66 is not what it seems, and that Fives found a secret. And he doesn't go in a lot of detail, but he kind of just explains that, the war is not what you think. Order 66 that you received is not what it seems. And he gives coordinates to a location on a nearby moon off the planet where Rex himself says he is at.
Is it
Oh, boy.
Alderaan?
I have not named any planets.
You said moon,
Now, so Echo decides at this point that, he needs to find Rex and figure out, well, what exactly is going on. Like, he never expected in a million years to get a message from Rex. He doesn't know whatever happened to Rex. There could have been reports that Rex was killed because their ship crashed during Order 66. So he might think that Rex is dead. And so he's super confused at this moment, but he recognizes Rex as his voice, even though all clones have the same voice. Clones know how to distinguish clone from clone very easily. And so as he leaves the barracks, he walks past a group of clones from a different squad of clones, and they're gloating about how they just killed a Jedi the day before, and they're kind of celebrating it and happy about it, like how they did it. And when Echo hears this conversation as he walks by, he is very disgusted by it, but he doesn't know why. Like, he doesn't like it, but he doesn't know why. And so
interesting.
So this goes back again to his discomfort and his confusion, like, about, like, he doesn't know why he's in discomfort. He doesn't know why he's confused, but this is another incident where it pops up and is noticeable to him. And so he then finds the rest of the Bad Batch and says that while they were on their mission the day before, he found a hidden message from Rex. And so now this is kind of where I didn't know how to do like just a convenient thing for a plot point, but somehow he convinces the rest of Bad Batch to go with him to find Rex.
All right.
So I didn't know how to write that in because I don't know how, but he somehow convinced him, and probably something along because they fought with Rex before. They know how good of a soldier Rex is, and so if he's in trouble or something, like, they want to go help him. So something like that. So Echo says, I need your help, and they decide, okay, we'll go with you, and they sneak off. And so they take a ship, and they leave the planet, and they go to the nearby moon, and they discover that there is a medical station that was used by the Techno Union at the coordinates. But when they land and they kind of look out the perimeter and they kind of do like a recon of like the building and stuff, they realize that there's no one, like there's no activity. Like the Techno Union is gone. It's just kind of like an abandoned facility and area. And so they're kind of like, okay, this is weird. And so they go to enter into the building, which was, like I said, was a medical station. And as they enter, traps are set off and they are captured.
Oh boy.
So they're captured. And so then goes to like straight black screen. And no, it's not the rest of the episode. Like there's a lot left in this episode. But black pause and like, oh no, is that the rest of the episode? Nope. And it pops back and wakes up, and all 5 of the Bad Batch, they're in chains and they're just tied down. They can't move. And they all look up and they see Rex and 4 other clones standing there.
Uh-oh.
And this is where Rex kind of has his little, he gives a full detailed explanation of the war, Order 66, and the chip that is inside their head that's causing them to do this.
Oh, shoot.
And obviously, you know, the OG 4 of the original 4 of the Bad Batch, they're like, you're a liar. We don't believe you. You are guilty of treason. We're going to report you to the Empire and they're going to execute you, blah, blah, blah. But Echo, he's inclined to believe Rex. He's siding with Rex that like Rex isn't making this up. And he was saying, Echo then explains that even though he was compelled to follow Order 66 and kill Jedi, at times he was torn and confused, and he didn't like it. Like it never sat well with him. And he says that the day before he had a chance to kill a Jedi and he didn't. And Rex then says, go ahead.
So he never killed any Jedi?
No, he was involved in killing Jedi in the past and he didn't like it, but the day before he had a chance, but he chose not to.
Yeah, he was wavering much more than he normally was.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so Rex says, well, we have something to show you. And he shows them brain scans of the Bad Batch. Remember, they're at a medical station, so they have medical equipment.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
He shows the chips that are scanned in the original Bad Batch members, the first 4, and they're just like picture perfect, intact, amazing chips, biochips. And then they show Echo's chip, and it has extensive decay.
Oh.
And
like the tumor of the other one?
Or what they called was a tumor, but it's like clearly visibly different on the scans that Echoes is a decayed chip, like it's falling apart type of thing. It's kind of like different color. It's kind of like it's been rotting in a sense.
Sure.
And so, and remember, Rex is here with 4 other clones,
Right.
And so, now,
wait, do we know who they are or can we not see their faces?
they're just generic.
Oh,
clones.
okay, I got.
They're not. They could be specific clones that we've heard of before, but I never went into that about.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So he, now, but one of the clones is, I will say, is a medically trained, clone. Like that's his specialty is medical stuff. And so, Rex and these other clones, they've been researching these chips and the effect it has on clones' brains. And so Rex explains, how many do I got? I got 4 conclusions that they have made about this chip that they've learned. That when Order 66 was enacted, the chip itself overtakes the brain and is the driving force behind all the thoughts and ideas of the clones. And it's
Okay.
almost like that the clones have two personalities. Their pre-Order 66 personality and then their post-Order 66 personality. And the Order 66 personality overpowers their own original thoughts. So kind of like in the Clone Wars during Order 66, you see Rex. He's battling for the first 10, 20 seconds to not
Yeah.
kill Ahsoka, and he knows that it's coming. Like he can feel like something's changing in him, and he knows he has to quick get a message out to Ahsoka because whatever the chip is doing, it's overtaking his thoughts. And so,
Right.
and then when he wakes up after Ahsoka removes his chip, he's back to normal, and he remembers everything that happened, but he had no control after the chip took over. So that's the first thing that they learn about the chip. The second thing that they learned is that the makeup, the physical makeup of the chip, it's a genetic code that is not human. It's not human. It's not original to the human brain. And so they come to that conclusion. The third point that he comes up with is that chip removal must always be forced on a clone, and no clone will ever willingly remove it.
Oh.
And
Okay.
so now from this specific one, I will say that I didn't really explain it in the rest of the episodes or in future seasons, but it would be something that you would see kind of like in a consistent basis, is that Rex's issue with this, because throughout the Clone Wars, he always says there's always a choice. Clones always have their free will to make a choice.
Right.
But with Order 66 and this chip, that choice is no longer available to them. They're no longer thinking beings. They're basically droids in a sense. And so he struggles with this, seeing clones no longer have a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's gotta frustrate them because that's what they fought against.
Right. And so that's the third one. The fourth one is that the effects of chips linger the longer as time progresses. So, and they come to, and I'll explain this more, but they determined that within 2 years after 2 years of activation after Order 66, no clone will be able to be saved from a chip removal. That once they remove the chip
Oh,
after
damn.
2 years, no more clones can be fixed, can't be saved.
Well, dang.
So
That's a bummer.
yeah. So the first part of what I said was that the effects of chips linger the longer that time passes, and so when Rex had his chip removed, he immediately got back to his first personality, his original
Right.
personality. But someone who had the chip activated for a month, it might take a little bit more time for that to work. And so they've determined that, there's 6 months after Order 66, and they believed, based on their rough calculations, that it would take 12 hours for a clone to completely return back to their first personality after their chip was removed.
Oh, wow.
That's
And
crazy.
So and then again, this is kind of like, if you have to wait hours and hours, you don't know, like, you're hoping that they're going to snap out of it and return back to their original personality, but you don't know because you're just sitting there waiting.
Right.
And so at this point, Rex is like, the five of us, we got to this moon, and we went into the database and we found some Techno Union stuff, because we knew that the only chance that we really had of getting any way to like get more clones saved is to find Echo, and the only chance that they had to do that would be a hidden message on a Techno Union planet. And so they said, they've been on a standstill for 6 weeks waiting on this moon because they don't know what else to do. They don't have any resources. It's just the 5 of them, and he's just kind of like you can see it that Rex is kind of defeated. That like he just doesn't know what to do really, and so, but then at this point, the original 4 Bad Batch members, they don't buy any of this. They're still super angry. They're still accusing him of treason and how they're gonna, if they get a chance, they're gonna kill Rex and they're gonna report all of this to the Empire. Blah blah blah. And Rex was like, really? And so he and the other 4 clones stand in front of a Bad Batch member, including Echo, and they raise their weapons on stun, and they stun all 5 of them. And that's the end of the episode.
What?
Oh, boo. Boo. We don't even get to see their chips come out. Boo. Ah. No, all joking aside, that was really good. Congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that was good. That was some really good storytelling. I'm very impressed.
So what are your guys' you have any
Yeah,
theories on what?
See, now I don't know. Because the only thing I do know is that their chips are going to get removed. Because if this is a Bad Batch series and we need a protagonist, it can't be anybody other than the series, the people the series is named after, right?
Right.
I mean, other than series like Clone Wars, that's a pretty generic title, but
yeah,
we need heroes. So obviously,
I will say though that I writing this whole season, I kind of had to go back and fix things because I kind of made it a Rex series. I was like, no, I got to put more focus on. I need to make the Bad Batch the focal point. So I had to kind of like tweak some things, but
that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, so I know that they're going to get their chips removed, but honestly, after that, I have no clue. I have no theories. And there's a part of me that's just like, I just want to go along for the ride and be surprised.
Disappointed that we haven't heard from Ahsoka yet, but
well, listen, it's Jeremiah. Don't sell him short.
That's true. It's coming.
But I will say, I very, very much enjoyed the use of the Techno Union frequency. That was a really, really clever plot point. Very well done, in my opinion.
I was gonna say, I felt like you liked that as soon as he said that. You're like, ooh.
Well, I thought it was going to be Obi-Wan, and then Echo was going to hear the message, and it was going to be like, oh, this is. I mean, like it would have the same effect, but I think this was a way to like really hit Echo much closer to home than just hearing Obi-Wan.
True.
Right.
So I think that was. I mean, it was just very well done, in my opinion. So yeah,
Drew, any ideas, thoughts, predictions?
Not really predictions or anything. I'm really curious on how the Bad Batch is going to be called the Good Batch. Like, I'm interested to see what they do and how they exist in the world once their chips are removed and once they realize that, like, potentially if they realize that they're on the wrong side the whole time, be interesting to see how they adapt and change. If they go out and do their own thing, or they're going to fight with Rex and Ahsoka, or potentially any other Jedi that is lingering. And yeah, I'm pretty excited to see, especially with Tarkin, like they're kind of on his like bad side, right?
Wait. So does that mean that Tarkin could be set up as like a main protagonist?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me.
Ooh. Or sorry, antagonist.
Yeah,
see, now that, as genius as he is, that would be a very good villain to have running on it. Because like the only other person that I think that could really do them justice, well, there are 2 people. One, Grand Admiral Thrawn, or 2, Darth Vader.
Ooh.
But I don't know. Honestly, Jeremiah, maybe we should get that hashtag going again. Give it to Jeremiah.
Yeah.
As long as he pays a lot of money for Dave.
Yeah, you just have to win the lottery first.
Yeah. I do. It's only it's only at like 150 million right now, so that's not enough.
That's not enough. Yeah, we got
after taxes. That's like 100 million, and then Dave Filoni is like, I already make that much anyway. I don't need.
Yeah, chump change.
All All right.
Sorry,
Well, how
I-
much he
I-
actually does make though?
No.
He probably makes some 6-figure income. Probably not 7-figure, but
Yeah. I did. I do apologize. I kind of interrupted you there, Drew. So do you have anything else?
No, I'm good. I'm really interested to see how it goes, and I'm proud of Jeremiah for sitting down and doing this and being creative because he doesn't even like to read these kind of books. So to
Right.
write one is pretty intense.
But-
yeah, this
But
is
here-
why it is
okay.
a TV show, not a book. This aren't
Okay,
chapters.
but here's the thing,
episodes.
Jeremiah. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
If you enjoy stories, these types of stories, and you've proven yourself after this episode, you can do it, and you can do it pretty dang well. There are so many novels out there that are like so similar to this in
Yeah.
the Star Wars world.
Yeah, I know.
So who knows, everyone? Maybe this will break Jeremiah
Who
down.
knows?
Maybe
mean,
I'll
well-
start drinking coffee too. You never know.
Oh my goodness. That would be one heck of a change, let me tell you.
True that.
I wouldn't even recognize you if you did that and started reading.
Ooh, and started reading. Well, he'd probably have to drink the coffee to start reading.
Well, I have been.
Yeah.
Drew and Andrew know that I've been taking up baking as a
That's
hobby,
true.
and I've been watching a lot of the recipes on YouTube, and a lot of chocolate-based recipes call for a splash of
Caffeine?
coffee.
Oh,
Yeah.
true.
And I'm like, I can't do this recipe because I don't have coffee. And I'm like, dang it.
But you should have coffee.
But anyway,
Yeah.
all right, we're going on a tangent, but
But
True.
yeah, dude, great job. 10 out of 10. I'm really enjoying it so far.
how many
and I hope-
lightsabers are you going to give this one? How many?
Ooh, lightsabers. I haven't heard
okay.
lightsabers in a while.
I would give this first arc.
Keep in mind, it
Okay,
only
yeah.
gets better. It only gets better. And the
That's
cliffhanger
why-
for the whole season, the end of the season, oh, you guys are going to flip your table after you hear. Because remember, for those of you listening, when I finished the season, I actually wrote some dialogue on how the season's going to end, but I blacked
did.
out the dialogue, but just left the names and like one little like prompt of like the setting or whatever. And I posted on our Discord, and like, I'm like, this is going to be made. Do you have any theories? And Andrew's like, there's not a lot to go off of, but you guys are going to flip your tables when you're.
Well,
when
and
you hear that
he
conversation.
Jeremiah did spend most of his time on the last episode. And so next week will be episodes 4, 5, and 6.
Yep.
And then the last episode in this trilogy of podcast episodes is going to be entirely dedicated to the season finale. So
Yeah, and so I would say that my notes for the last episode is like almost as long as my notes for the first 6 episodes combined.
holy buckets.
Right.
There's a lot of details. So
All right. Well, look, you, the listener, if you're hyped, and you probably should be after this, especially after hearing what he just said, you definitely need to subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and you need to be back for the next 2 weeks so that you can hear the continuation of the story.
yeah, and if you're
I mean, like-
listening to this at our live, like as we're posting on week to week, if you listen to this, you can quick send us a message and like a voicemail on Anchor, and with your predictions and your theories on what you think the thing is, and we'll.
Oh, heck yeah.
We might even post that at the beginning of next week's episode to see if it aligns with anything that I write. So
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, and you can do that by there are actually a few links underneath the podcast that you're listening to. One of those is the voicemail link. The other one is a support link. If for some reason you are feeling generous and you want to support us financially, you can
Yeah,
actually do that through
like if
Anchor
you won
as
the
well.
lottery and have $500 million and you want to donate that to us, we can put to good use.
Yeah.
Like making.
I mean, this wasn't supposed to be like a job interview for Jeremiah as a writer, but if it is and you like what he's doing, go for it. I mean, we're not going to reject that.
Nope, for sure.
But that's one of
I'll
the
be a
links.
sellout. I don't mind.
But also you can find us on Facebook and Instagram, both at Empire Radio Podcast. We've got some cool stuff coming over the next few months, some announcements that are going to be posted on the social media accounts. So you're definitely going to want to make sure that you follow us on those as well to get the full experience. So everyone go send us voicemails and compliment Jeremiah on his work because he did a pretty good job. And like he said, please make sure if you have a theory and it's like a good theory, please send it in
Yes, for sure.
because we would love that. It would be so fun. But yeah, anything else, boys?
Nope.
Nope.
All right. Well, this has been another extremely fun episode of the Empire Radio Podcast. I'm Andrew.
I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And may the force be with you.
Always.